Hello everyone, my name is Zhang and this is another episode of Let's Just Talk. This time I'm gonna do it differently by speaking English only because it makes me feel more comfortable talking about this topic. And today's topic is gonna be about pornography. And since I'm not an expert on this topic, I'm gonna invite one more person in this video to talk about it, which is here we have Mr. Terrell Neasley.
Hello.
Terrell used to study human sexuality in college and he have huge ton of real life experience on this topic. Right, Terrell?
Yes, it is.
I have a lingering interest on the topic of addiction, drug addiction, video games addiction. And I think addiction is very harmful if you don't tackle it carefully, and it does have tremendous effect on the human mind. So to answer the question of what is porn addiction, we would like to divide it into what is porn and what is addiction. Porn, anything?
What is porn? Porn is pretty much any kind of material that is used to elicit sexual arousal, whether it could be video, whether it can be images, or whether it can be literature.
What is the initial purposes of porn? What does porn do? And why do people come to porn in the first place? Terrell?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons. The easiest and most obvious would be maybe some type of sexual release. They get to a point where they're either in a relationship and maybe the spouse or girlfriend is not present, or they can be a single. It doesn't make any difference. You're looking for some type of sexual release, or it can be an educational aspect that they're looking for, or it can be just something that they just want to experiment with, especially with fantasy types. I mean, when you're talking about sex, you're talking about a basic physical instinct, So when you're looking for some type of outlet and you don't have a partner readily available, then the next best thing is porn. It's been designed for this.
So it seems like there's a lot of initial purpose to porn, and people use porn for a lot of reasons, but there is a certain point where porn just go wrong. And there are many reasons to porn going wrong, where we concluded here that porn will be considered abuse when your decision making are affected by porn. There's a certain extent where your decision making can be affected by porn, and it is by early exposure for youngsters or false expectation and misinformation on sex in real life. Which means that when you watch porn, you have an idea of how girls should react and how guys should react and how a certain part of the body looks like. And it can be very damaging when it comes to real life stuff. Don't you think, Terrell?
Yes, and that's precisely the reason that porn addiction can be so bad in that regard, because it would be wrong to think that everybody is built the same way. Breast genitalia is different. People behave in different fashions. So if you go into a situation thinking that a person is going to respond in this certain way, or a person is going to look or appear a certain way, and they don't, then that can give you some false impressions and really mess up a relationship.
I want to tackle this personal aspect where it can affect a person's opinion on real life sex when it is supposed to be very intimate and very meaningful.
Yeah. When you're talking about those kind of false expectations, one of the things that you're looking at is this person's, you're looking at two things. You're looking at this person's view on everybody else, as well as how they feel about themselves. I have done a lot of work photographing what I call vulva portraiture, and that originated when early in my photography career, I kept getting a lot of models and a lot of young girls that would approach me concerned about the way they looked down there. And usually it had to relate to labia minora that kind of protruded outside the vulva more than what a lot of people would deem normal. Porn, in some of my discoveries and investigation, has given a false sense of what that should be, or what women's genitalia should look like.
I think there is a differences with the approach to porn between guys and girls, and this difference can be very mild to some people, but girls do not seem to have that much of a problem tackling with porn other than guys. And do you think there's a reason for this?
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, I have to do a little more research to get the numbers on it, but women have much more available to them for that kind of sexual release. I mean, when you talk about the different sex toys available, you can simulate a penis much more easily than you can simulate a vagina. So there is that little imbalance in that regard. So when a woman is using any kind of phallic device to pleasure herself or stimulate herself, I think that is a much easier thing to do than a guy that does not have the same type of tool. And without that physical stimulation, now you rely more heavily on visual stimulation. So therefore, porn becomes much more of a necessity for a guy. But I still think that women still utilize, porn. But there probably is an imbalance on how much that is being done.
I also talked to a lot of my guy friends saying that if a girl and a guy lay on the same bed with each other, does it mean that there's gonna be something? And 80% of them saying yes, and I just don't get it.
I might say it just a little bit differently though. Guys are a little bit stupid.
Okay.
But
I'm not gonna cut that part.
there is, when I say that, what I'm meaning is that there is a different kind of expectation. Guys are thinking about sex all the time. So it's easy for us to be either misled, get the wrong impression. If I'm in bed with a woman, 9 times out of 10, it's in some type of sexual connotation. But if there is an agreed upon, understood relationship, then that needs to be honored. It's not up to the woman. I mean, there is a responsibility of the man to understand his situation that he's in and to maintain control of his own damn self. So if you can't do that, then that's on the guy. Just like the guys are stupid, women need to be just a little bit more helpful and patient and teach us to understand. Sometimes guys just don't get it though. So that is an issue. But women can be just a little bit more patient and communicate just a little bit better. In some cases, you may have to dumb it down just a little bit. Because if you're speaking on master level, PhD level conversation to someone who has, 3rd grade mentality, and understand when a man gets aroused, all that blood is rushing from his head. His intelligence, his IQ level is just dropping and dropping and dropping. So if you want to communicate, you got to come down and match that level of communication. Then understand, so I'm just actually supposed to go to sleep. Yes, you're just supposed to go to sleep. It's like, okay, I get it now. Good night,
Well, normally I think miscommunication happens with both sides, because one side is very rushy and one side is, oh my god, he's a, oh my god, I'm just gonna run away from here and never gonna see his face again. And then friendship ruined.
Yes.
And I think that's partly the reason why people say girls and guys cannot be close friends. While I have been proving it wrong my entire life, just hanging out with a lot of dudes, but I do run into some incidents where the guys just cannot take the truth. And in that case, girls, I think he doesn't deserve you at all. He doesn't deserve a friend as good as you. And as much as we want to offer a solution to porn addiction, I think we kind of drift away from the conversation for a little bit. But it is a very wide and broad topic that we would want to spend more than just under 15 minutes talking about it. But thank you so much for watching the videos. And if you have any comments or any questions, please comment below so me and Terrell can answer those. Thank you so much and good night.
It's been a pleasure.